Good morning, and good morning again as we start our show today right here on Troy Cable Channel 52 and on our
4th day of March.
Facebook Channel 2, and I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr., and he's far as, what's your last name?
Lee, and they're full
Lee.
of barbecue. They went to Tuscaloosa yesterday and filled up on barbecue.
That's right.
Well, I had coleslaw and salad. I couldn't go, but
They had some of your leftover pecan pie you've been making everybody.
well, stop by the messenger. There may be some left.
Yeah, exactly.
Your brother left the
Bobby
skillet there.
Rice is watching this morning on our network, and of course watching on Facebook around the world today, and proudly mentioning that we're located on South Brundage Street in Troy, Alabama.
Troy, Alabama.
And of course, Rice had a lot of barbecue yesterday. We will talk about that today. We'll talk about Enterprise losing a tough one in basketball, but you know, it was the first time ever that Enterprise played for the title. And
That's right.
I tell you what, that Red Harrelson is getting quite a name for himself as basketball coach at Enterprise. If you know Red, would you like to compliment Red and his team on their efforts? Call in today. The telephone number is actually 670-0052.
He's got a first
morning.
cousin, Heath, who's in seminary in Birmingham.
Oh, really?
That went to Enterprise.
Good morning. We've got Mike Amos calling in from
Creighton Beach.
Drayton Beach, Florida. What's going on?
Not much. Beautiful down here today. It's going to be a high of 70 and sunny, and then look at the weather. Next 10 days, it's supposed to be sunny down here, so no rain. It's going to be nice.
Well, that's very nice to know, and of course I know a lot of folks are heading that way now. Spring break in the city schools is when?
I don't know, but Troy University starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow, so they're gone for the week.
And they'll be gone all next week.
Yeah,
They're rolling out Friday. Some Saturday.
Yeah, so that's a lot. That's going to be a lot of fun for a lot of college
Troy City
kids.
Schools is the last week in March. Now, I don't know if that, I looked at the calendar. The last week in March has 3 days.
And why? Why somebody see see it like I do? Why are Troy University taking the spring break a different time than the city schools and the private schools?
And even Pike County schools.
You know, I mean,
Pike County and Troy City usually are different.
It's a holiday, and your parents, and just think of how many parents you know that teach at Troy University or work at Troy University that have to work next week, and think of the ones that are want to go to the beach and can't go because Daddy got to work. You know.
That's true. It would be nice if they were the same week.
I
They've always been different. I mean, it was Troy University was on a quarter system, and then Auburn was on a quarter system. So they'd have their spring break sometime, and then University of Alabama, then the public schools, then the private schools. They never really matched up.
Pike County schools, spring break next week.
That's right.
That's
oh,
right.
they do? Okay.
Pike
well,
County
Pike
school.
County sees the light, yeah.
Just like Troy University.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course,
8th through the 12th, yeah. This
you
Friday's the
folks,
5th, yeah.
now, how about Pike Liberal? When do they celebrate?
I believe it's, let me look them up. The Terry Sykes.
At one point, some colleges talked about not having spring break for COVID reasons, to not to send students home and get COVID and spread it. I think some colleges are not having spring break, and some are. That was left up to the colleges.
Yeah. Well,
You remember we used to have AEA holidays all at the same time.
Yeah.
Here already.
And you know what? Hey, we'd have a war if we did away with spring break. Of course,
What's the latest on the mask ordinance in Alabama?
She's going to announce it at 11 o'clock today.
It or what?
She's going to make a statement at 11 o'clock.
so governor's going to make a statement today.
Well, I got COVID news. I track the new cases every day, and they've been going way down. They've been averaging about 700, anywhere from 500 to
Stephanie, when is
800
y'all spring break?
for last couple of weeks. This morning I looked, there were 2,700 new cases in Alabama yesterday.
March.
I mean, the graph just went from going down to shooting straight up like the World Trade Center tower. That's 4 times more cases in one day than you've been averaging. I have never seen an anomaly. So what? In other words, what caused, with cases going down all of a sudden in one day for 4 times as many people to test positive for COVID? There's something needs more investigation.
And it is.
Is there like some new strain?
Well, that was my first thought, and then if there was a new strain and it suddenly hit everybody in one day, literally one day, because the previous day I think it was 650 cases. I mean, and then the number of people that were tested went way up. It was averaging about 5,000, and then yesterday there were about over 9,000 people tested. So, this
sounds like kind of an election, like where there's not enough votes, so they come back in with about 25.
I know. I mean, then you got all these people who are states getting ready to make decisions on their mask mandates, whether to extend them or not, and then maybe you fudge the numbers and to make sure that.
I and the lieutenant governor do not get along when it comes to this, apparently.
And
they always argue.
The president had some strong words for the governors of Texas and Mississippi, but spring break for Pike Lib is March the 22nd through the 26th.
Okay. I bet that's Troy City schools too.
And but now in Pike County schools
next
take
week.
out next week.
Yes, sir.
As far as we're looking at Lee's hairdo, ladies and gentlemen, and look what pretty white hair or silver hair he's got, and he's going to have it cut off
in 2 weeks. From tomorrow, Raymond's going to cut it off.
Hair.
It's for a worthy cause. A friend of ours at church, Cara Hussey, she just retired from Coffee County School. She has served at Goshen, Pike County High, and and Zion Chapel as the guidance counselor. She's one of our piano players, and she found out in early January that she has stage 4 lung cancer, non-smokers, and she had surgery last week, and MD Anderson in Houston, Texas, and her family and friends and church family and her sorority sisters, and we're just in deep prayer for her and her husband Donnie and her children.
Did the surgery go good?
Well, they're still, it's one day at a time, and there's other surgeries coming, and they've been out there for about 3 or 4 weeks, and they're going to be there for a longer time. But to get back to the haircut, I put it on Facebook, and I've sent it to some friends of mine and fraternity brothers, and it's been linked to her sorority and different people. Well, Raymond, bless his heart, he had brain surgery about a month ago too.
Yeah.
And so for about 2 or 3 weeks,
brain surgery a couple of
and
months
you did
ago.
too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the trend now. Everybody needs to go ahead and get the brain surgery out there.
But anyway, I said, well, you know what? I'll do a fundraiser, and if they want to make a contribution, they can do that. And I'm going to get my hair cut off, and I'm going to leave a mohawk and let them take a couple of pictures of a mohawk. Then he's going to cut that off. Then he's going to put that shaving cream on my bald head, and he's going to shave it.
Well, I will tell you this right now. You got a $100 bill coming from me.
Well, bless your heart, Mike Amos.
Started off with $100 bill.
I'll give you 10.
Okay, any amount, but
Stevie's up there shaking. He's up there shaking. I sure hope he don't. Hope he don't call me.
How long?
But you can count on Steve Kemp. He's gonna have something.
Do what now, Michael?
How long did it take yesterday for you and Bill sitting in the stands watching that Troy game that Dad took his Troy cap off and started cheering from Alabama?
Now let me do this.
We never started. I didn't start cheering for Alabama. Mike didn't start cheering for Alabama. We cheered.
Hey, they would try they would try to kick me out of the ballpark before I got there.
Yeah, we had an adventure where we were trying to get our seats because they put these little ties on the seats where you. Long story. We won't even go into
now,
it.
you folks that are hungry.
Anyway, we sat on the right behind first base, about 8 rows up from first base.
Had a real good seat.
Whose dugout?
On the Troy side?
Troy's dugout side.
Well, you couldn't tell. There wasn't a lot of Troy people up there. They were crawling in a hole somewhere. They wanted to crawl in a hole. They got Alabama scored 7 runs in the third inning.
It was a good game
see you in
except for
Omaha,
one inning.
Alabama. We're going to see you in Omaha.
And the center fielder for Troy, who everybody just raves on about how good he is. Well, he let one go through his legs and rolled all the way to the fence and scored 3 runs.
Well,
Yeah,
We'll
it
see
was
in
a
Omaha.
good
We're getting
game
better.
except for one inning. So, but you know,
Well, it's a little different when you play every game at home. Troy's not been on the road, and if that's how they're going to play on the road this season, that's not a good sign.
well, we play tomorrow night at Southeastern Louisiana, 3-game
right.
set.
And let us sit back and enjoy. This is your life. Build Rice and tell us about your barbecue.
Well,
I got started.
you know, first of all, we went back and forth on whether to go to the game because it was kind of overcast when we left, and we thought it was going to be
It was
cold.
cold, yeah.
But so we decidedly finally pulled the trigger. Let's go, which is rare for me to get out of my little home office and go somewhere. So it was a big deal for me. And Mike's been bragging about the barbecue house barbecue just north of Troy. And so
The
we
pulled
finally
barbecue.
pulled out of Troy about 10:45, 11 o'clock. First stop, the barbecue house. Got us
Troy?
got us a
Wow.
couple of barbecue sandwiches there. Outstanding. Then we hit the road, Jack, and went up to Tuscaloosa, and we next stop Jim's Barbecue, which I hope everybody has been to Jim's Barbecue by now. It's iconic, especially for Alabama fans going to Tuscaloosa, the sporting events. We stopped at Jim's, what would you say, I guess an hour and a half later, and Mike got a jumbo, large barbecue sandwich for both of us.
Good night.
That turned out to be kind of a mistake. Those jumbo barbecue sandwiches are jumbo barbecue sandwiches. They don't shrimp. Now, I got to say, the Jim's Barbecue easily was the best barbecue to me, as good as the barbecue house barbecue was. It was unbelievable, but it was so big.
So
Barbecue
juicy.
falling out of that bread that I was driving by that time. I couldn't drive and eat it with one hand and keep on the road. So I pulled in some little country church and we stopped and finished our
Had a
Jim's
little
Barbecue.
picnic. We had a little picnic.
Then we get to the game. Beautiful stadium. I hadn't been to a baseball game in Alabama since they redid their stadium, and I was blown away by it. And
Did you catch a foul ball?
they hit some close to us, but no.
They had a lot of nets around that
Okay.
top.
So after Troy was getting beat 9-1, and we thought we'd change our luck and get home early. So we left in the 6th inning, and I said, we've done this much barbecue. We got to eat at the most famous barbecue restaurant in Alabama, the original Dreamland.
Good.
And so we pulled in there. Surprisingly, there was only one person in there. We had a table all to ourselves.
And
we got a slab of Dreamland's famous ribs and their famous white bread to finish it off. So and then the Dreamland barbecue, which the ribs were really good, but not as good as I remember them because they had too much fat on them. The ones we happened to eat. So Mike, if I'm voting, the barbecue prize for yesterday on the barbecue pilgrimage, I'm going to give it to Jim's Barbecue.
Yeah,
All right,
I
go to
understand
Hooks
that.
today. Go to Hooks.
No,
Yeah,
Go to
now,
Hooks
this
and-
was pulled barbecue. Hooks, to my knowledge, I don't know if they serve pulled barbecue, but on the sandwich at Jim's was a pulled barbecue, and like you said, those jumbo barbecues are huge, and but it was really good and some very good eating, and we ordered a slab for two, and
We split
it
it
was
with
a lot of
the
food.
ribs, yeah.
And we split a slab. And
But anyway, in
ate
my
like Robin Hood, ate like Robin Hood,
oh, and we went through some napkins
Right,
too.
look
You're
here,
right.
look, ate
But you
like
didn't
Robin
give any
Hood.
to the poor. You should have bought me a to-go plate.
Should've.
And for all you folks that have eaten there at those restaurants over the years, we probably ate barbecue as well as anybody in the state of Alabama.
Well, in my life, I can never think of eating 3 meals of all barbecue in one day. So you got to do something different to keep some flavor and variety in life. And yesterday,
and that barbecue at the barbecue house was good, though. Didn't you think?
yeah,
It was
heck
real
yeah,
good.
very good. Great.
And of course,
It was all great.
we got started in a good way, and we hoped that we'd see a better baseball game. Troy looked terrible. I'm telling you, they were throwing the ball all over the place, and it was not, for some reason, these midweek games like against Alabama and Auburn and things like that, we don't do very well for some reason.
Alabama on the other
Get it
side,
out of the
Alabama looks good. Alabama looks really good.
But now Troy does play Alabama in 2 weeks here in Troy.
And
so
I wouldn't be surprised. You'll see a different Troy team that day. And we listened to the radio broadcast, the Alabama radio broadcast, and they had a post-game show and interviewed Alabama's coach. And he said, this is a good program, and I think we just didn't get the best Troy today. He said, I expect to see a much different, tougher game when we go to Troy. I bet he's right.
Who was doing their radio? Chris Stewart?
Yep.
Yeah, Chris Stewart, and the other guy did a good job too. And it was a long broadcast. Like you said, the post game was had a lot of.
It's just like Atlanta Braves. Your pregame, postgame facility.
You know where Chris Stewart got his start? Johnny Williams hired him at Troy.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he hired him to do some play-by-play at Troy. Yeah, and that was before Barry McKnight. And let me tell you this: every time you see Barry McKnight, say, "Man, I'm glad you're at Troy." He is as classy a guy as you're going to find in college sports, and he's as conscientious a broadcaster as you're going to ever find in college sports. Mm-hmm. And Troy is lucky to have McKnight.
Yeah, and his sidekick Jerry Miller's is awesome too.
And Amos, Doug Amos, who wants to be kin to me real bad, but my good friend Doug Amos does a good job filling in too. Troy's got a real good broadcast; they really do.
So, but we had a fun day. We drove through the campus of Alabama, and it's not as pretty as Troy's, in my opinion, but it's got beautiful, impressive buildings, but there's just so many of them, and it's just packed. That campus, I told Mike, we talked about, me being a student there for 2.5 years in the mid-'80s. It's hard to find your way around and navigate around that campus today compared to 30 years ago, because it's just so much of it has changed. And they're building everywhere right now, including some kind of bridge that runs from the law school, Coleman Coliseum baseball parking lot over back toward, what's that road where you live, Mike, the tornado hit?
15th Street?
Yeah, it's going over, it's a railroad, it's a bridge that arches over the railroad tracks. But right there in the middle of the parking lot is a big, huge archway bridge they're building.
And it looks like they're trying to find another way in and another way out, for football and these big crowds they have for football.
And going back to Troy baseball.
Last time Dad and I went to the Troy, Alabama game, Neil DeShero was working for the University of Alabama, and he took us through a tour of all the facilities in the Malmore Athletic Complex. But since then, they probably have added about 3 or 4 more facilities since then.
And
we were sitting out there on the practice field that day, and Saban was on his perch up there.
I know.
On the telephone.
And he came out there several times and stared at us. I will say this, that they've got a lot of that blocked off now. You notice there was a gate, certain gates, and if you didn't belong there, you didn't get to go through there.
Going back to Troy.
I figured y'all would have tried to go right down the street from there and go to Outback Steakhouse, Big Mike's favorite place on the road.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that, no question.
Well, I was going to say that the next 12 games, when we get back from southeastern Louisiana, Troy baseball, of the next 12 games, 11 of them are at Pace Riddle Field.
Oh, man.
And the other one is at in Montgomery against Alabama State.
That is great.
So that's a long series.
Exactly. And Troy falls to 7-2 on the year. And, of course, like Rice said, a beautiful, beautiful Sewell Thomas Field. Is that what's the name of it?
Yeah, I mean they got real major league dugouts, stores, and gift shops, and I like the outfield, and the right field line is it's got like amphitheater seating and terraces and grass area back there, and they let people bring in their coolers and bring in your reclining chairs and your picnic stuff, and that seems to be real popular. People can spread out and they just have a picnic. And
what was the attendance?
It was 1,500, probably 1,000, 1,500, but see, it was spread out quite a bit.
Yes, sir.
And of course, Troy didn't have its best day, and Alabama had his. I think they hit 4 home runs, something like that.
But you couldn't. It was probably pretty full for what it could be, because 80% of the seats you couldn't sit in them.
That's right.
They're theater seats, chairback, what they call them, chairback seats, every one of them. But they have these little plastic ties, and you can't push them down.
Of course, let's get into high school.
Did Mark Smart realize you were there, Dad? Did you scream at anybody?
Well, he didn't know I was there, but hey, he probably could feel me though somewhere. That I was disappointed somewhere. Because
we went up there one time, and what is it, Troy Alabama basketball game, and we called Maestri at the last minute. And Maestri put us behind the bench for the Alabama-Troy basketball game at Coleman that time.
Yeah, I remember that. Of course,
you could have called Don Maestri and got him to meet you out at the ballpark.
I know it. I could have.
Is he living in Tuscaloosa now?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in Tuscaloosa.
His daughter Sharon lives up there with one of the Swindle boys. They've got married. They have a baby girl.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Zeb.
That's right.
But no, Zach.
Yeah.
Tough loss for Enterprise yesterday. They lost the state championship 7A boys 41-37 against Oak Mountain out of Birmingham.
I know somebody tried to shut it down. Did you think it was Enterprise, or did you think Oak Mountain just shut it down?
Slowed down?
Nerves. The low score.
I guess.
37 points. Enterprise scored 37 points.
That's the lowest output of the year.
You can try to dribble it out. I don't know why they don't have a shot clock in the state championship.
I know it.
It's going to be a lot better basketball to watch.
I wouldn't think so, because it's going to be all about eye. Whoever has the basketball is going to shoot it, and that's what's happened to college basketball and the pros. It's all about eye, in my opinion. One of the problems. Anyway.
Tiny Kingdom won yesterday. Mountain Brook won the 6A title. They've now won 6 state championships in 9 years.
What a run!
Well, they have really got a program, and they're not fancy. They just go out and they press you all over the court.
But everybody can shoot the three.
Yeah. Why can't?
I wouldn't have a problem if a Mountain Brook kid that can shoot the three come play at Troy. We need a guy that can come off the bench and shoot threes.
Exactly, can shoot the basketball. Troy University is looking for a player that can shoot the basketball. Line up today outside of the Trojan Arena, and let's see if you can shoot the three.
It's all analytics now with these 3-point shots. It really changed the game, and people. It's like Nate Oates believes. And you ought to hear him talk about it. If you can shoot a certain percentage, it makes so much more sense to shoot 3-point shots.
Well, Don Maestri, who is the father of the 3-point play, probably nobody emphasized it more in this program than Don Maestri. And that's what he said, the same thing. All right, if you make a certain amount of threes, you overcome if you make a certain amount of twos.
It's that simple, yes, math.
If you can shoot them, you got a chance to win. If you can't shoot them, you got a chance to lose.
Doesn't Alabama lead the country in attempts and 3-pointers made this year in the season?
Like
well, let's do some quick math. If you shoot 53-point shots in the game and you hit 40%, that would be 23 points you make. That's 60 points.
All right, let's go down your list of what's going on. And of course, Enterprise lost to Oak Mountain of Birmingham in the 7A state finals, 41-37. But again, I know the whole town of Enterprise. This guy was a marvel when he played. We're talking about Red Harrelson, and now he is the same way as a coach. And look for Enterprise to be good every year as long as Rhett Harrelson's there.
Yeah, I mean, look for Rhett Harrelson and maybe follow Bucky McMillan into college basketball one day. You know, Bucky had great success, and now the head coach at Stanford. You know, he might want to try to do the same thing one day.
Exactly right. And I tell you what, he's got a lot of kids that are wanting to play basketball. I would like to see his camp. I bet he's got 100 kids in his camp in the summer.
Yeah, Keith Sessions, I think, is their statistician. And there's a Quisenberry kid who played at Troy.
That's right.
He's one of his assistant coaches. And Quisenberry's grandfather, I think, is Charles Clark, who used to coach at Crenshaw.
One of the all-time greats at Troy.
Yeah, Mr. Charlie.
Yeah, his name is Clark Quisenberry. Played tight end receiver at Troy.
I think he's one of the coaches, and that's a bloodline of a great family.
Hey, I've been thinking while y'all talking, finishing my point. If you shoot 40% three-pointers, take 50 in the game, and you make 20, you get 60 points. 20 times 3 is 60 points. If you shoot 50%, a much better percentage, two-pointers, and take 50 shots, and you make, that's 25 you've made in the game, 25 out of 50, that's 50 points. You come out better shooting 40% from the three-point line than 50% from the two-point line.
But yesterday you said take it to the basket.
If I can get Don Maestrid's phone number, we'll call him periodically. He's a wonderful guy, and he lives
We got
in
to call him before the
Tuscaloosa.
tournament.
What? Yeah, I would love to have him on the air.
Talk to us.
Oh, I know he will, and you know, all we got to do is call him, and he would be.
I am going to do a big freelance piece and try to sell it to ESPN or some big Sports Illustrated, and do a retrospective look back at that 258-point game.
You know, the title could be, we want to go back and re-look at that game. How in the world can any college or high school or any team anywhere score 258 points in a game? But I saw it with my own eyes, Troy do it.
And I want to talk about that whole team and the way he changed him and Coach Felix. They were known as a great defensive team that emphasized the power forward in the inside game.
Yeah.
And then, like in 1 year, they said, all right, we're scrapping all that. We're going to do – there was one other team that was doing it. Was it Loyola Marymount or somebody?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And I'll tell you this right now.
The only thing about that game, though, that would be questioned is was the fix on? Was DeBry Institute in on it? You know.
Well, I'll tell you this.
The game. Nobody played any defense.
No.
It was almost like they were trying to set a record.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this right now. Anybody that doubts anything about this game where Troy scored 258 points in a game, they hit 51 three-pointers. 51 three-pointers.
Well, you would have to start with a score from the year before. Troy scored, what, 169, 170 the year before?
Yeah, I want to say they scored 180.
182. That's why it became a big deal, because they got kind of close to it the year before, and they said this year we're going to make history. And Michael is right. There was no defense. DeVry only had 8 players. But I still say you could play in the Girl Scouts or air. You go out there and to hit that many three-point shots and to score that fast, you couldn't. I don't think anybody else
There
could
were
do it.
51 out of 106.
I would love to have interviews from players from both teams and see what they were
Well,
Tim
I'm gonna-
Mason is here.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to. I'm going to contact them from both
I
schools.
think he scored 12.
But it was either I was the sports editor of the Messenger, so I covered that closely and wrote the story. It was 51 three-pointers. I think Mike's right, and then
51
but
out
like
of
20
106
20 dunks. So there was only like 12 points scored the whole game that wasn't a three-pointer or a dunk.
That's right.
Well, Tim Payson played in that game.
And let me tell you, there were people on the court. I mean, there were people getting in front of folks and running around in back of folks. I mean, there were 5 players from the other team trying to get the ball, you know.
Well, they started slow. It was like a track meet. I can remember those Troy players. They were geared up for it like it was a national championship game. They were going to make history, and they were running so dang, and they were missing shots early on. The first bucket of the game was Andy Davis, who was a big, tall guard, but he might as well have been a forward. He was about 6'3". He got a putback. That was the only 2 points he scored in the game. The rest of the time, he was just rebounding and passing. But finally, at about the 4 or 5 minute mark, they started hitting them. And if you remember that Troy team, when they started hitting them, everybody
was
started
like a
hitting them.
magic
And it was just boom, boom, boom,
Was
boom,
that
boom,
the great
boom.
one from Talladega, Mike? You remember him?
The pregame shows were so fun to
Terry
watch
McCoy was a
back
great
then.
Brian Simpson.
The guy that was getting all the dunks was a guy named Fred Bryant. That was probably 6'5". He could just jump out of the gym.
Yeah. But it was just quite a ball game, no question about it. And I'll tell you another unique thing about it.
It snowed that morning.
It snowed. It was snow on the ground. And probably a lot of folks didn't go to the game so the kids could play in the snow, you know.
I'm so glad I went. And that was no fluke, folks. I mean, you know how much that team's average per game that year?
122.
120, I think, or one. That's a record too, I think.
That's right.
So for the whole season against everybody, they averaged 120. They played in the final 8 against Rhode Island or New Hampshire or somebody, and scored 145 in the Ncaa semifinal game.
And you know, and
It's kind of like how Alabama tries to play now, but Alabama only scores in the 80s.
yeah, I would think anybody that wanted to score. Now he got a lot of this. Coach Maestri got a lot of this from Loyola Marymount. Now they were the ones that were doing it.
Paul was.
But these guys, let me tell you something. You had to put several guys out there that could shoot, and they had them that could shoot. Those 2 kids from Kentucky could shoot, and you know, and they were straight A students too. You know, they were good students too. And
Every one of them could shoot, except for Andy Davis couldn't shoot the 3-pointer, but he
I'll
was
tell
one
you
of
right
their
now,
greatest
Rice,
leaders.
I'll tell you right now, Rice, if you'll do a story on that and renew that what happened, I think it would make national headlines.
I need to do it. I need to get rid of doing all these COVID research and just jump back to sports.
And it would and
And I want to go into just building the program, because it was basketball didn't have much of a following, and man, Coach Maestri worked so hard to get the fans he got to come. I mean, he went to every
he had
civic
one of the
group.
prettiest little girls in Troy that came out in the unicycle.
He did his Harlem Globetrotters pregame thing with Kim Barnett riding the unicycle.
And then the guy that could spin all those balls off his fingers.
I was one of the dribblers.
Showtime. That's what it was called. Showtime.
Yeah, Showtime, yeah.
So, you know, the backstory or the sidebar story would be, look at what this coach did. And it was like a high school gym, Sartain Hall, and you know, a 3,000 seat arena. But somehow he got the players and the pretty good fan support.
Yeah.
That'd be something neat for a high school team to do, or let a college team come back and do that again as a promo.
We got one down to the court, and I think we got a technical foul.
And one of the things that they emphasized on fans was if you get the kids to come and get them to pull on the daddy's coat and say, let's go to the basketball game, if you get all of those kids going hard, well, somebody got to bring them.
It's called promotion.
They call a mama and a daddy.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you a Coach Maestri anecdote. I was the sports editor for the Messenger. We were the one newspaper in town. Twice a week I would get a call from Don Maestri. I wouldn't call Don Maestri. He would call me, Bill. Here's a story I think. Here's a story I think we ought to run, and then here's a promotion we're doing. This game's coming up, and here's real big for this reason.
He ought to write a book, Don Maestri.
He was selling that program all the time.
Let's just see who it is first.
Hold
Will.
Will, are you out there, Will?
on.
Hey, Will.
I think we got Will Matthews here.
Will, we're talking about the day that Troy scored 258 points and won the game 258 to 147 over DeVry Institute out of Atlanta. Now, a lot of people don't realize this. They had a kid that scored 57 points.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They had a guy that scored 57 points.
DeVry did?
141 is a lot.
No defense in that game.
No defense.
No defense.
And but it still was Troy. Somebody had to go out and score 258 points. And a lot of people that are listening to this show and might be watching it on Facebook somewhere. Hey, 258 to 147 was the final score of that basketball game, and Troy won.
They shot 50, I think they hit 51 3-pointers. I think they tried 109. Can you believe that? 109 3-pointers in a 40-minute game.
And to my knowledge,
And so they hit about 50% of their 3-pointers for the game.
to my knowledge, I don't think anybody has ever come close.
No,
I'm talking
no.
about even come close
Yeah.
to being, I don't know if anybody's ever scored 200
They
points.
haven't. They haven't.
And
So it's history, man.
it is.
And they got a lot of criticism for though it was rigged or it was a stunt, and I just don't think it was fair because can you blame those kids for wanting to make history?
That's right. Yeah.
DeVry was.
And they were out there and they were dribbling. Like I told them, the one kid for DeVry scored 47 or 57.
Troy would let DeVry score just so they could get the ball back fast.
Yeah.
I mean, to score 258 points, you got to have the ball on offense. And so they were a lot of times they were just giving up points.
And Andrew Jeske, 3 officials were no-nonsense officials. I've seen them officiate many times before.
I need to interview the officials.
That's right. And they would love to talk about it because it was a basketball game that was. Troy scored 258 points.
Here it says the 5 records.
How many fouls were called in that game?
Probably about 5.
Well, there was some fouls called though, and see that stopped the clock, and that helped them, go to that record.
You're right. There was no defense played, so it wasn't many fouls or free throws.
But now they didn't turn around and just sit there and just look and watch you shoot. Mm-hmm. They had the guys trying to put their hands in somebody's face and whatever. Give us some stats.
The top 5 records that will never be broken in NCAA basketball history, according to this note, is the number 1 was Troy University versus DeVry. That's number 1, 399 total points. The next one is Jack Taylor of Grinnell College racked up 138 points in a single game. I don't know when that was. The next one is...
One player scored 138 points.
Northern record breaks its own NCAA record for fewest points and a half. 4.
Oh, okay.
And another record that will not be broken, Pistol Pete Maravich's 44.2 career NCAA basketball scoring average. 44 points.
Without the 3-point
If he would have had the 3-point shot, he would have averaged 54 points.
Right, at least.
And the last one is UCLA's 7 consecutive national championships.
But Troy's deal was number 1.
Number 1.
A lot of people don't realize that. But that'll tell you right there, it was a basketball game played at Sartain Hall Gymnasium on the campus of Troy University. And the final score, Troy 258. DeVry Institute out of Atlanta, 147. We'll be back to more of Today in L.A., believe it or not.
Here at Bill Jackson Chevrolet in Troy, we've been doing business the right way for 31 years. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
Been honest in everything we've discussed with them.
When they say Jackson Satisfaction, they really mean it.
The Jackson satisfaction is real.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Hi, Sandy. I'm right here. Come on in.
Baby, I'm right here. Oh, Miss Mary, I'm right here. Right here.
Since 1969, we've been right here because at Troy Regional Medical Center, we take these words to heart.
I'm right here. Thank you.
Remarkable people, remarkable care.
South Alabama, yeah, I can see them being good for a
Oh,
long
we're back
time.
on there. Y'all just saw the back of Steve Camp.
And he don't like it either. He don't like it either.
You don't like being on there?
He don't want to be seen. And there's Mike Amos sitting down at the booth. Boy, isn't he a handsome guy? Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you this, and I apologize. This is my son. I mean, I've got to take it either way I look at it, but that right there is my son. Now, he's not near as handsome as his daddy. He doesn't. His daddy's hair is growing back. But hey, good morning, son. How you doing? Have you had your breakfast?
I'm not able to eat breakfast anymore. I've been on a really interesting test with a buddy to try to lose some weight. So,
all right. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You know, everybody doesn't have a good weight loss remedy. What is yours?
Basically, I just do Atkins, and I lose about 30 pounds.
Well, see, some people don't know about what Atkins does. Tell us what you eat.
And then I get on Atkins. Then I get off Atkins, and I gain 35 pounds back.
Yep, that's me too.
But tell us about Atkins, though, a little bit. What does Atkins do?
It's just no carb. You know, I just basically just stay away from
bread,
fried foods, and breads and starches.
Like potatoes?
Eat a lot of salads and eat a lot of steak and eat a lot of eggs. Eggs are really big when I'm on Atkins.
They're like omelets. Omelets would be a perfect thing on Atkins, wouldn't it?
Exactly, yeah. I do a lot of omelets.
And a Western omelet?
Because anywhere you go down here and you order an omelet, it usually comes with home fries and hash browns or
grits,
or toast or biscuits, and they won't do anything a la carte down here. It's insane. So,
can you have milk?
Mm-mm.
No milk?
No.
I've done Atkins about 4 times.
The tough thing for me is the wine. I'm a wine rep, and wine's got a lot of sugar in it, and it's hard not to drink wine when I'm a wine rep.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, son. You stay away from those alcoholic beverages.
What you do on the Atkins or low carb diets, the Atkins diet, they say restrict yourself to 20 net carbs a day. It's got to be net carbs. And if you do that, the weight is going to fall off of you, man, in a hurry too.
What is a net carb?
Well, there's carbs and there's net carbs, and if you look on the labels, it'll tell you the things. But you basically eat a lot of things that have 0 to 1, 2, 3, or 4 carbs. Like green beans you can eat, and salad, like
and all
eggs,
you want, and
all the meats you want.
Yeah.
Hamburger.
You can have a squash casserole. You can have artichokes. You can have
broccoli. Broccoli is a good one.
Let's do this.
Broccoli and cheese is good.
Let's bring us a good scale in the studio. We'll all weigh, and let's try to do a healthy diet for a month and see where we go.
I would blow y'all away, because I have
challenge.
done this, and I will lose 20 pounds in a month, which blows people away. I can lose 40 or 50 pounds in 3 months on this program.
I've already lost like 14.
14.
So
14. And how long have you
Bill?
been doing it?
Is that a challenge?
2.5 weeks.
All right, so tonight you want me to have a steak? You want me to cook you a steak, and what else?
I don't know. I got to call you after the show. I don't know what Lee and I are going to do. We might just get up in the morning and drive. I don't know. I'll talk to you after the show.
All right, okay, I got you. Of course,
Terry Sykes starts today.
As we mentioned by our good friend Will Matthews, who's on the line right now, Enterprise shut it down against Old Mountain, and a 7-footer. Claimed that Old Mountain had a 7-footer. And Will Enterprise fought him. And this coach at Enterprise, Rhett Harrelson, is some basketball coach, isn't he?
I don't know anything about him, Mike. They got into the playoffs.
I know you don't like them now. I know you don't like them, and you don't want them to win, do you?
No, I love Enterprise.
No, wait a minute. Man, I thought anybody from Ozark would hate somebody from Enterprise.
Yeah, I've been to a bunch of people in Enterprise.
Okay, all right.
I'm related to the Warrens over there, the Sessions over there.
All right, there were some Sessions that played running back at Enterprise. There was some Warrens that played at Enterprise. There was some Dowlings that played at Enterprise.
I'm kin to the Pittmans are a prominent family over there, and I'm kin to them.
Yeah, Rice said he's kin to the Pittmans over there.
They were second cousins or first cousins of my grandfather.
I got to answer to Will's question. Total fouls in that game. DeFry, am I pronouncing that right? Versus Troy University.
Yeah.
They had 6 fouls.
Is that all?
Troy had 1.
There you go.
I just looked up the box score. 7 total fouls. Well, they didn't foul.
Yeah.
7 fouls in a game.
Yeah. But again, I can't believe that the guy from Enterprise, from Ozark, is wanting Enterprise to do well.
Well, Will had some more intelligence on that game. Halftime score was 11-8. If you can believe that. And then Enterprise was leading 39-37 late in the game, and then
so it looks like Enterprise was the one who was shutting it down. Is that right? That's the way it sounds like. Coffee, Steve.
The other thing in these games is they ramp up the defense. These teams, when they're playing for all the marbles, they play defense all year, but they seriously play defense.
That's why I don't.
Don't they have a shot clock in high school now?
No. But they need one.
I disagree.
But it costs them money.
Well, what it is it gives the Davids a chance to beat the Goliaths.
Yeah.
Like they were probably playing Goliath.
Exactly.
That's.
It would make the game a lot longer if you had.
We're talking about Hickory.
Milan, Indiana. Milan, Milan, Indiana.
Well, earlier this year, the score was 6-4 in a basketball game, or 8-6 in a basketball game in the regionals or sub-regionals.
Look here, Steve Camp. It's time for a new beginning with Steve Camp. So he brought me my coffee. I had to sing him a little song.
Mike and I had such great conversations on the way up and back, and that song is a knockoff of Fob James' campaign song.
That's right.
Fob James, it's time for a new beginning. With that was
Fob
his.
James.
He had a jingle with his.
That's right, with Fob James. Fob James.
Did you have to go drop the Bill Rice Sr. anywhere around Tuscaloosa yesterday that your dad played for the Bears?
Oh, he was crying all the way around. I couldn't keep him from crying. He was just crying and crying. My daddy, that's where he went to school, and that's where he went to get something to eat and whatever.
He with Dad and Uncle Bobby, too, would have been so proud of, especially the football stadium is so pretty.
Yeah. It's a beautiful place, and it is.
I think what's changed a lot since you were in college is the Strip. You know, all those bars they've had, for years and years. The Strip is no more, really. Everything's brand new.
And I was telling him about a good friend of mine owns part of a hotel down there, and that's
downtown has been changed.
Well-known hotel, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah. He owns the Embassy Suites near the new Tuscaloosa Amphitheater.
So there's that whole campus is moving downtown almost. It looks like, and gosh, it's huge. It has 36,000 students now, enrolled on campus.
Way too many for me.
That's a lot of folks, no question about it.
And before Saban got there was about 18.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
It's doubled in size since Saban got there, and I guarantee you he's the reason.
Yeah, best investment ever in the history of the school. And then half of them are from out of state, too, and they pay double tuition. So.
See, it's a yuppie college now. It's getting to be a yuppie college.
It's like it's always been that way. Everybody thumbed their nose at Auburn. And, if you were going to be a lawyer or a doctor, you went to Alabama. If you were going to be an engineer or something else, you went to Auburn.
Wait a minute. You're not saying that's bad, are you?
Let's don't upset the farmers that feed us.
Montgomery kids and Birmingham kids go to Ole Miss, too, though.
Hey, listen, when I go to my pharmacist and look at Joe at my pharmacy, hey, he's a big Auburn guy, huge Auburn guy.
Or if you were going to be a pharmacist, that's where you went, Auburn.
Architect, engineer.
And an architect now. Architects, we were talking about one of the well-known architects married a Troy girl,
Well, if you want to be a forester, you go to Auburn.
School teacher.
The business school at Alabama was famous. The School of Commerce.
Guess who the young man that married the Troy girl? Do you know? Do y'all know who I'm talking about? One of the top builders in the country.
No, Miller Gorey.
Miller Gorey.
Rasper Gorey.
Yeah, Miller Gorey. Of course, he's an Auburn guy, and he's done pretty well for himself.
Mike, if you want to play golf or play baseball, you go to Vanderbilt.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
That's right. Golf and baseball are king at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
You know, interesting article came out yesterday. Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith were supposed to be first-round picks. And a lot of people were saying that Alabama had the best receivers of all time in college football history when you had Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, and then Jerry Jeudy. Would you guys agree that's the top 4 of all time?
They're pretty good.
Well, they're all NFL first-round picks, and they all played together. I mean, I'd have to see who could beat that. It might not be anybody.
All right, local time to look at what's going on with this show is brought to you by Troy Bank and Trust Company, the only bank you'll ever need. And this is the time where we look at what's going on in Troy and Pike County.
Troy Bank and Trust had a group at the Alabama Troy game.
Yeah, and they didn't mention, they didn't say anything to us about it, did they?
Well, they stayed in the suite. Paul Bryant Jr. suite is where they took a trip and got Paul Bryant Jr. let them stay in their suite.
That's pretty
they
nice,
have about 10 luxury suites at the baseball stadium.
And of course, they were disappointed just like we were. But Forrest Lee, tell us what's going on right now.
All right, local high school sports today. Goshen baseball is at McKenzie. Pike Liberal Arts will host Macon East, and the Terry Sykes Memorial baseball tournament starts today at 5 o'clock. Charles Henderson will play Ayrton. Local school, first pitch at 5 o'clock. Trot Sykes, the son of Terry Sykes, will throw out the first pitch. It will be caught by Chase Allen Smart. That's the first pitch. I talked to Jennifer last night, and the second game after that will be Shelby County versus Prattville. There's a local kid whose mother, his grandparents grew up in Goshen, Alabama, in Clio. His name's Mason DeBose, and his brother will be playing for Prattville. But anyway, other teams tomorrow at Troy University and Hogan's Hoe. It will resume at those 2 locations tomorrow. Lee, Bibb County, Opelika, Robertsdale, Pike Road, where Coach,
that's right, yeah,
the coach from Pike lives there now. What's his name?
Ponder.
Yeah, Ponder.
Ponder
yeah.
is the head coach there. Early County, Georgia, will be there in the tournament. Also, Bibb County, I believe I already mentioned them, and Opelika.
That is a huge baseball tournament, maybe the biggest in the state.
And the Pike Liberal in softball, the girls of Pike Liberal Arts are hosting the Wiregrass Kings, and Charles Henderson Lady Trojans softball team will be traveling to Andalusia.
What is the Wiregrass Kings?
It's a new school. And the Border Wars, Pike Liberal Arts will be in the Border Wars, hosted by Glenwood Academy. That's going to be in the in that area of Alabama, the Border Wars.
Boy, that's going to be
Glenwood is one of the great
tournament.
Baseball dynasties of AISA. You know, I studied all of my AISA sports teams when I worked on my Pike Liberal Arts stories for the Messenger special section on the basketball state championship team.
Yeah.
You said UCLA won 7 national championships in a row. Now, the AISA isn't NCAA, but still, I found that Edgewood Academy won 6 football championships in a row, but their baseball program won 9 championships in a row.
Yeah.
9. They did a 9-peat in baseball.
And the same guy coached them. You know, he won. You know, what's his name?
And there's about 9 teams. 14 teams in that division.
And
I don't know his name, but we can look it up.
But Edgewood would have to be the winningest program around. Of course, then you take a look at a little town right down the road from here, Long High School of Skipperville, had won more baseball championships than anybody. Is that right?
Hey,
Mike?
I've got that. I've got that information right here. But in golf, Gene Allen and the Pike Liberal Arts golf team, they're going to travel to Greenville today to play in the Fort Dale Invitational. But G.W. Long has won 20 state titles.
Oh, boy, isn't that amazing?
Okay, they've won 16 in baseball.
Oh.
Slow pitch softball, they've won 1. Fast pitch softball, they've won 2. Volleyball in 2019, they won 1. The coaches in baseball, Kevin Rayleigh won 2 state championships. Earl Miller won 10, and his son Drew Miller has won 4.
Exactly.
16. They won.
The Miller brothers played here at Troy, you know.
And another local school. Let me mention Brantley.
They've won Titletown.
They've won 13. Roland Jones won. Roland Jones Sr. won a state championship in '93 and '98.
What sport?
David in football, and David Lowry. He's got a son that is at Troy University in education, studying to be a teacher and football coach. He's got a son in Demopolis who's coaching in Demopolis.
Yeah.
But David, in 2009 and 2012, led Brantley to 2 state titles. He also has coached at Elba. Tony Stallworth won 3 titles, 93, 94, 95 in basketball. Girls basketball under Andrew Gilcrease.
Yeah.
Won 2 in 2013 and 14. And softball, they've won 4 state titles under a lady by the name of Cindy Hawthorne. And they're loaded again, probably.
Titletown, USA,
That's right.
Brantley.
Those
and
2
of course,
schools.
But when you look at Long High School of Skipperville, now let me ask something, Will.
Yeah.
I bet there are a lot of players that go to Long that's supposed to go to Carroll High of Ozark. I bet there's a bunch of problems that arise on where they're eligible to play.
No, what they do, Mike, they pick the boys out in Little League when they're in like 12 years old, 13, and they recognize who's going to be the star players, and they just move their parents.
So they just move. they just move into Long High School of Skipperville to play on their program.
They can move outside the city limits and then go wherever they want to.
That's called America. Do what you.
And there you're sitting at. Here you guy. Here's the Carroll High School baseball coach. He's sitting in his den right now, looking at this show, and right across the street, the kid across the street, 6'1", 190 pounds, or 6'3", and weighs 200 pounds, into the pitcher, gets in his car and drives to Skipperville.
It happens at most schools.
Oh,
different sports, most schools.
But again, Carroll would be loaded if they could have gotten some of those. If they could have zoned in those kids from Skipperville.
Goshen had a pitcher that made it to the major leagues and played several years.
Where is Goshen? Where is it located?
Well,
you're talking
wait a minute now, Will. Now you're being facetious now, aren't you?
No, I've never been to Goshen.
Will, I tell you what,
You've never
Will,
been to Goshen?
Mr. Will, when would you be free for supper on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, or Sunday afternoon at lunch? I will personally take you, and you can eat what you want to the Barn Restaurant in Goshen, Alabama.
It's wonderful.
You can go several ways, but if you're going from Troy to Luverne, cross the Double River Bridge, the Kanaka River, take a left, and that takes you into the land of Goshen. A proud community, a loving community.
It is one of the great
people from
Alabama.
It's about 12 miles from Troy.
Is Goshen Crenshaw County?
No, sir. We're on the edge of Crenshaw.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
But
Will.
yeah, it's right near Crenshaw
we love
County.
Crenshaw County.
Listen, I'm starting to be embarrassed.
We're about a mile from Crenshaw County.
I'm almost being embarrassed for you, Will. I can't believe that.
We're near Henderson.
I thought Will was a judge in Pike County every once in a while.
He is a judge.
Hey, Judge, have you been through Glenwood? I mean Henderson and Glenwood. Have you been between Spring Hill and Luverne on the Glenwood Road and Henderson Road?
Now, my brother lives in Greenville, so I drive through over that way a lot, you know, when I go see him.
You mean he had something to do with you? I know all about your brother after going on this trip yesterday.
Is your brother a lawyer?
Yes.
Does he have a daughter about 20 or 24 years old?
Yes.
Hey, ask him, did he have somebody to come do the Blues Brothers for his daughter? Because my daughter and I went and did the Blues Brothers for a lawyer in Greenville. They live near downtown Greenville.
That's him.
Hey, I did the Blues Brothers. My daughter and I did the Blues Brothers at her 16th birthday.
All right, sing a little bit.
Coming to you on a dusty road.
I didn't. So you do little gigs.
Remember that well?
How do you find people? People pay you to go be the Blues Brothers?
Well, I tell you what happened. Rock Island. Y'all know Rock and Nancy Island?
Yeah, good friend
Rock Island called me Forrest. Nancy called me, Forrest, can you come do the Blues Brothers for this little girl who's turning 16? I said, yes, I can. But I couldn't find Elwood.
Yeah, you couldn't find Elwood.
Abby was about 8 years old, maybe 10. She said, Daddy, I'll do it. We borrowed a coat from Jason Reeves, Will Reeves. We borrowed a coat from him for her, and we got her a hat and glasses. Of course, I was dressed up. I had a briefcase, and while I was singing, she was doing, I bet she did 100 cartwheels.
Oh, gosh.
How'd it go over? Was it a big hit?
Oh, it was fantastic. And they filmed it, and so we got ready to leave. Jody went with us, and so we came back in the house, and he thanked me, and he slipped me a $100 bill. And so on the way home, I said, Abby, you've earned your first gig. So I went to the bank the next day and got two $50 bills, and when she woke up, I said, here's your pay.
That's Warren Matthews. That's Will's little brother.
I'm sure that's the guy.
And Warren is 6'6" and weighs 299, doesn't he? Isn't he?
He's lost a bunch of weight. He's down around 230 now, but he is 6'6".
I was being facetious.
Bill, why don't you join force and become the Blues Brothers?
Will would be a perfect.
Hey, my other Elwood passed away about 4 years. Ken Johnson, his daddy is anyway. But I'm looking for Elwood. The band's coming back.
I'll tell you something funny about Warren. Warren he used to live in Birmingham. Now he lives in Greenville, and he's got an office in Mobile and one in Montgomery. Well, he's a member of Mount Brook Country Club up there in Birmingham. And some of his guys were running their mouths and that type of thing. And he said, I tell you what, I'll bring my brother up there and we'll play anybody who wants to play. Well, I went up there, and this was back when I was in my early 30s. I still played good golf. And we won the Mount Brook member guest by about 10 strokes.
Boy, that's something now, yeah. See, I've got a lot of my wife's, a lot of my wife's people are good golfers.
That's the best food I've ever had is at the Mount Brook Club.
I've never been to the Mountain Brook Club. I bet it must be nice.
Their food and weddings there, oh my goodness.
Well, let me tell you what they're famous for. They're famous for their fried oysters. Yeah. They have fried oysters on Sunday night. Is that when they have it, or Friday night?
Don't they have a Birmingham Country Club too?
They have a huge Sunday night buffet, probably Sunday night.
Yeah, and they have all these lobsters and everything flown in and everything.
Yeah, they've had guys working there all their lives. And when a guy retired one night, I was dating a girl, and the dad came back and he was laughing. He's like, we all gave so and so a going away present, and by the end of the night, he had $100,000. That's a true story. for about 50 years of service.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I saw a good documentary. I love documentaries. On the caddies at Augusta National. Will, you could probably talk about this. You're our authority on Augusta National, and you know they used to be. They were there forever, you know, for decades, and some of them did really well, and then some of them didn't. And like there's one guy that had caddied, I think, for Jack Nicklaus in several Masters, and he didn't even have a headstone and nice tombstone for his burial place, and Jack Nicklaus gave him a donation so they could do that. But those guys were around Augusta National for decades, and I guess they're still doing it.
Yeah.
They're caddying for the members, but not in the tournament. Mm-hmm. They ended that in about 1980
or 83, somewhere along in there, is when Augusta let the players bring their own caddies.
Wouldn't it be neat if somebody would use an Augusta? You could still use one if you wanted to, though, couldn't you?
You can if you want to, you can, but nobody does.
Yeah.
Does Shoal Creek still make you have a caddy when you play Shoal Creek?
Yeah, I've always known that you had to have a caddy. The times I played it, and that wasn't but about 3 or 4 times.
I played in the first tournament at Shoal Creek when it opened. First tournament.
That's a beautiful course.
Let me tell you what it was. It was the SEC Golf Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at Vandy, and Hall Thompson and his brother DeWitt
That's
were
right.
from Nashville originally. And DeWitt was a member of the club we played, and our coach and DeWitt were very good friends. Well, anyway, Hall Thompson came out with a thing that all the teams could come in the day before and have one practice round. You can only hit one ball. You couldn't hit multiple putts or anything like that. You put all kind of rules on, the players. Then he called our coach up and said, well, since DeWitt and I went to Vanderbilt, we're going to let y'all come down a week early and play all the golf you want. So we knew the golf course, and it was, I tell you, we almost won the tournament, and Florida was number 1 in the country, and they won the tournament. And we almost beat them because we knew if you hit a driver on any hole back then, the woods had not been cleaned out. You're going to lose the ball every hole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was tough. And the greens were so fast. I was playing with Chip Beck, who played at Georgia, and he hit a par 5 in 2, it was like number 11, and he's putting for an eagle from 30 feet and putted it into the water.
Wow, excuse me.
I mean, it was a bizarre. Chip Beck shot a 90.
Will, and I want everybody to hear this.
Pro Tour.
Will, I want everybody to hear this. One of the top players for Florida was a young man from Greenville.
Philip Hancock.
Philip Hancock from Greenville was one of the star golfers for Florida. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm kin to him. Now, Philip won the SEC 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, he was a great local golfer from Greenville. And of course, they had a bunch of them, didn't they?
I tell you what he did. I played with Philip at Burning Tree in Decatur, Alabama, in the SEC championship one year. Okay, Philip, if you know anything about golf, Philip hit every fairway. He hit every green, and he hit all 3 of the par 5s in 2. In one round. He did not miss a shot in 18 holes.
Mm.
It's the best round of golf I've ever seen played.
But he was a good one out of Greenville, Alabama. And of course, his brother was a pretty good. You played against his brother quite a few times too, didn't you?
Bucky played at Chippewa, and then Bucky went to Alabama and played at Alabama.
Yeah.
But he was not as good as Philip.
Well, now who was the one that played at Troy that was such a good player?
That was all right. That's the baby brother, David Hancock.
David Hancock. See, that's who I was saying about.
David and Philip are back in Greenville.
Yeah, David's a good friend of Colin McCreary.
David,
right.
David is Colin's best friend. You're right.
Yeah. And Pike Lips played in Greenville
He's
today.
a great guy. He is a great guy.
Real nice.
You know, he's disappeared in golf is Duffner. You know, you never hear of Jason Duffner anymore. He was pretty good there for a while.
I heard about him recently, Mike.
Yeah,
he played in this last tournament.
He makes money and he makes cuts, but he's never in contention anymore.
No, and he's getting older. I think Duffner is close to 50 years old.
And you know the sad thing.
Look him up, Michael.
Yeah.
I think he's 47.
Will, let me tell you what a sad thing is. I'm worried about my buddy.
43.
43.
Yeah. But I'm worried about my buddy though. Bubba. Bubba just doesn't look like he has it anymore. Is that right?
No, he's still.
He's had mental health issues.
Got more money. Bubba Watson's got more money than he could ever spend.
But you know, he's had some personal problems, and you know, I hate to say it.
He's selling a lot of CBD oil.
He does.
Yeah, he's real into that.
What now? Into what?
CBD oil.
Yeah, and
Cannabis
Mike,
oil.
I need you to bring me some of that oil. You got any of it?
Yeah, I need some too.
He's 42.
I think we're all out.
He's 42.
Mike Amos calling in on Zoom TV this morning.
We had a lot of samples for a while there.
Yeah, because you live down there in Paradise. What do you do every morning?
Usually I do a show called Day in LA, and then I go and hit a few spots, restaurants, and then I come back and usually go see a sunset.
Do you know where the Yellow House is in Panama City up there where I live? You know who's got the Yellow House?
Yeah, I rode by it the other day. I ride by it all the time because our old beach house is right down the street from it.
See, he's talking about your place, Will.
Oh, yeah.
That's been in your family a long time, hasn't it?
I can always be Will's got to go check on it after a storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, me. Mike Amos along with Bill Rice Jr. and Forrest Forrest Lee and our good friend Will Matthews, and we'll be back. And we'll be back right after this.
Mike.
Here at Bill Jackson Chevrolet in Troy, we've been doing business the right way for 31 years. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
Been honest in everything we've discussed with them.
When they say Jackson satisfaction, they really mean it.
The Jackson satisfaction is real.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Our history is woven with the stories of those we serve. At Max, we've been a good community partner for 65 years. Max is dedicated to providing dependable financial services and to supporting our communities. We volunteer our time and share our resources. As a credit union, we've returned millions of dollars back to our members, local nonprofits, and small businesses. Max is honored to be a part of your story. We look forward to serving you for years to come.
Hi, Sandy. I'm right here. Come on in.
Daddy, I'm right here. Miss Mary, I'm right here. I'm right here.
Since 1969, we've been right here because at Troy Regional Medical Center, we take these words to heart.
I'm right here. Thank you.
Remarkable people, remarkable care.
This weekend in Memphis. Oh, back again, ladies and gentlemen, to our show today in L.A., and we were talking about Will Matthews. He's going to see his rich aunt this weekend in Memphis. Is that right?
Well, she's not rich, but she is my aunt.
You love her, but you love her just like she is, right?
Oh, yeah.
She was a Carol. Wait a minute.
Why don't you go to Rendezvous and eat those ribs? Bill Rice and Dow were eating in Dreamland last night.
Yeah, exactly. We had some great barbecue last night. But I want to mention, she was a Carol from Ozark. She's got to be rich.
No, she wasn't a Carol. She's on my daddy's side.
Oh, okay. Oh, me. We're having fun. Of course, we were going to pick out a...
Well, Will, in the commercial break, Will told us what Tiger Woods' net worth was, and Phil Mickelson's. Tell everybody again, Will.
Tiger's worth $1.5 billion.
He's a billionaire.
$400 million.
Phil's worth $400 million, according to his source.
Okay. How about some of these guys?
What about Jack Nicklaus?
I'd have to look him up. I'll look him up.
God, he's made more money building golf courses than he ever made as a player.
Yeah.
But you know what? That business dried up.
I've heard that.
You know, the sad thing about all of golf, and everybody talks about these golfers. Well, Sammy Snead won 80 golf tournaments?
83.
83.
Jack Nicklaus worth $400 million.
Jack Nicklaus, bless his heart. Bless his heart. He worth only $400.
I have looked up. He has built courses all over the world. He's built far more courses than anybody else. But you're right. I've looked at. They aren't building courses in the United States of America anymore. Any job they get.
Arnold Palmer died 3 or 4 years ago, but he's worth
How much?
$700 million.
More than
$700 million.
More than Jack Nicklaus. God.
Yeah.
Well,
How about Dr. Terry
Endorsements.
Middlecoff?
Endorsements.
He's got all his drinks he sells, the sweet tea lemonade.
Mm-hmm. Arnold Palmer.
Let me ask you a personal question. Did Dr. Kerry Middlecoff, was he really a doctor?
He was a dentist.
He was?
Yeah.
There's a couple of Dr. Gil Morgan, right? There's a couple of doctors that are.
Dr. Morgan was a dentist.
Whatever happened to Gil Morgan? He was a good player on the seniors tour.
He was old, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Well, you can get this information real quick.
Hey.
How old is Gil Morgan?
He's probably 67 or 8 years old.
Yeah, well, see,
Hey,
I'm older than him.
One of the last times I was on the show, we were talking about Phil was getting ready to play in his third seniors tournament. Did he win it, or has that happened yet?
No, he played horrible. He played horrible. He finished 20th.
74. Gil Morgan, 74.
74. Isn't that amazing that you can get all that information?
And he was
Mike Weir was leading that tournament. Then some guy came and caught him on the last couple of holes. Kevin Sutherland, I think, won the tournament. But the senior tour has got some great players on it now. It would be fun to go watch the seniors.
You know a little bit about everybody. Mike Weir is from Canada, and he's a left-handed golfer.
Yeah,
Is that right, Will? Will, by being around you, I just learned so much about golf.
I'll tell you something funny. Biloxi here at Fallen Oak has a senior event, and they have a pro-am. So I told my cousin, Doug Barron, I said, I'm going to play in the pro-am with you in the spring last year. Guess what it cost to play in the pro-am at the senior tournament?
$20,000.
5,000?
$4,000. No, $4,000. So anyway, I said, I'm going to do it one time, just whatever. So I sent them a check for $4,000. Well, COVID canceled the tournament, and I got my money back.
I hope you got your money back.
I will never sign up for that deal again.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
That's an expensive round. That doesn't include your golf balls.
How's the Masters going to work? No fans?
No fans. They're going to have family and members only.
And hey, is it going to be hard to get a hat?
You can't.
Nobody's going.
You got to go, and you can't get anything.
Well, Will, you've been bringing me a hat for how many years? About the last 15 or 20 years since we've been good friends.
I can't get myself.
You got a hat on now.
This has broken your master streak in the last 2 years, right?
I want to tell y'all a true story, and Will knows all about it. You know how I get stuff from Will over the years, because he goes to Masters every year, and he picks he takes care of his friends, and he buys hats and whatever. Well, I told him, I said, Will, get me a sweater vest. I wear a lot of sweater vests, and so he got me a sweater vest, and I go to pay him. I said, Will, how much is this sweater vest that you got me? It was something like $160. $160, Will. I told somebody later that if I was a billionaire, I don't think I would ever pay $168 for a sweater vest.
Well,
you did.
Do you remember that, Will?
Yeah, what?
But that's what it cost.
Well, too. I still wear it. I love it.
Let me tell you,
I've got a pink one I wear, and I've worn it a lot of times, but hey, it was $168.
Well, we went to the Alabama-Troy baseball game yesterday at the Joe Sewell Field Stadium, and how much do you think a Coca-Cola was?
$3.
$5
for a Coca-Cola.
So we got two. Mike got a Diet Coke. I got a regular Coke. $10.
I bet you didn't have ice in it either.
No, it was just a little 16-ounce plastic bottle.
That's right.
Oh, about. That's unbelievable.
Oh man. Well, you know they got you. They've got you there.
I can go to Piggly Wiggly and get a 2-liter Coke for $1.29 or sometimes 99 cents.
Bill, what was the final score? I didn't win, but what was the final score?
9-1 Bama.
How much?
9-1.
They had a 7-run third inning. They scored 7 runs in third inning. The center fielder, who's one of the best in the country for Troy, let one go through his legs and roll all the way to the.
It was 6 runs in the third, and Alabama's leadoff hitter in the first hit a home run, so that was kind of a bad sign. The very first batter for Alabama.
Alabama's got a good team. They hit 4 home runs yesterday, and
apparently Troy got robbed of a home run in the 9th inning and made ESPN's top plays.
Yeah, did you see that?
Apparently the guy jumped over the wall and brought the ball back in and robbed the guy of a home run.
Yeah.
I know, as he jumped over the fence, but it seems like if he would have caught the ball over the fence, it'd been a home run.
He brought it back in.
He brought it back in.
Okay, so he didn't go out of the ballpark.
It's on L.com. Apparently it's one of ESPN's top plays if you're going to watch it.
Yeah, I like to see it. See if you can get that over there far.
Well, of course, y'all had already left the stadium. The Amoses are known for leaving games early throughout our career.
Yeah, well.
Well, it's getting ready to get dark, and it was going to start getting chilly, and so we're trying to change the luck. Sometimes you leave, and your team rallies when you leave. You know?
But we did, folks that didn't hear what we did before the show today. We started off with a real good barbecue from the barbecue house north of Troy, and they got pulled barbecue, and they stacked it on that bun, and so we were off and running with barbecue all over us.
11:01. That's approximately
like Robin Hood and barbecue all over.
That's about 11:01 a.m.
And we drove all the way until we got to Jim's Barbecue
on the Targa
Maplesville,
County line going towards Maplesville.
In Maplesville, and of course that store was there open for business, and we went in there, and I got 2 king-size barbecue
sandwiches,
and we couldn't hold it on both hands.
I've never seen that much barbecue in a sandwich.
And we got it all over us, all the way.
All over your sweater vest, with sauce.
All the way to
how about the Ram truck? Did you enjoy driving the Ram truck, Bill?
Man, that had so many whistles and bells and gizmos that I've never seen.
Let me tell you what it did.
Yes, I sure did like
and I hope Jason is watching, but let me tell you what we did. We went to one place where we had to pull in and back out.
I was showing Mike my old house in Pike Road in Woodland Creek, and we came back that way, and so anyway, I'm backing up. I said then that's where I lived, and I've shown him how huge this neighborhood was, how many homes have been built in Pike Road in a matter of 5 or 10 years. And I'm backing out of my old driveway on an incline, and the truck just suddenly stops. It's a safety feature that, if you're going too fast. And that's obviously designed to prevent you from being in an accident. And I thought I had hit somebody backing out of my old driveway, but I hadn't. It was just a safety fixture on the truck.
How in the world did y'all end up on the road? That's way out of the way.
No, we weren't either. The way we went.
The way I go, instead of cutting down Taylor Road, I go down 2 more exits. I pass Middleine, and I go to the new Pike Road exit where you got that big, huge overpass ramp.
Yeah.
And you miss all the lights on Taylor Road and Middleine, and then you go down Vaughn Road, then you turn left and hit the old Pike Road, and you're 28 miles from Troy. It's actually faster.
Man, I can see that coming back from Auburn. I couldn't see that coming back from Tuscaloosa, though, I guess.
Well, I will tell you this: we didn't miss any time, but that truck prevented us from backing out because it was some kind of a.
Well, and I heard, like if somebody is passing you and they get too close to you, when they're passing you, there's a beep that goes off. So if you don't check your blind spot good, which I've done a million times, we've all probably done it, and you start to turn into the left lane, and that truck knows that somehow. It's incredible.
It's amazing how we were able to pick this up, and we've got it on your phone right now, where the Alabama guy jumps, knocks the ball back in,
catches it.
and then catches it. and there's a guy from Troy saying, "What happened? What happened?" You know.
But he fluffed. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to drive that Dodge Ram to Mobile when we Mike and I went to see University of South Alabama get thumped by
But
the
if
Troy
you're backing
Trojans.
up,
It's nice.
and what happened was my tailgate. Well, not my tailgate, but my
hitch.
Yeah, and it hit the ground before we got there, and
that's what signaled it.
And and that's. Buzzer went
But
off.
well, the thing we saw, I hadn't been to see my old house in over a year or that neighborhood, and Mike told me, he said, "Bill, there's a new Publix right near Pike Road City Hall," which that kind of didn't surprise me because they were selling land when I moved back to Troy. A lot of places you could have built a Publix, but I hadn't seen it, and they are done with it, and it is a big Publix, and it would have been about a mile and a third from my house.
And another thing, it'd be the closest Publix to Troy, wouldn't you say? I would say the distance from the Publix at that place there. And what area would you call that?
Pike Road.
It's the Vaughn Road, right where City Hall is.
Yeah, that's the way we go to Georgia.
And you come out at the Union Springs connection there, and you're home free after that.
Well, it's 28 miles to the Pike Road cutoff, and then that road, I think that Pike Road until you get to Pike Road proper is 13 miles, so it's 41 miles.
Will, when you're going to Birmingham from Troy, let's say from Troy or Ozark, from Ozark, you go when you get up to the Union, what we call the Union Springs Junction. You get off there and then go hook on to 85 and then on to 65.
I think Will's gone.
I think Will's gone.
He's gone.
Hey,
You got Troy Auburn softball today. So when are y'all getting in the car and going to that?
yeah. First pitch 5 o'clock,
We need to go to Auburn.
and it's the invitation.
Is it any way to show this this catch? How this kid from Troy got robbed
I'm not sure.
of a
Troy's
home run?
softball team is 13-3, so maybe they can give Auburn a game tonight. I wonder if Auburn will pitch Arborough.
What time will that game
5
start?
o'clock.
5 o'clock.
And then Auburn comes to Troy next week, I believe. The softball team
Yeah, that's
does
great.
play a single game.
The game is 8 hours, 32 minutes, and 54 seconds away.
Well,
What barbecue house is between here and there?
Troy batter hits it a home run, opposite field home run over the right field bleachers where all those fans are picnicking back
That's
there.
right.
And the
looked
Alabama
like-
right fielder, he leaps high, man, and gets up, and he barely, the tip of his glove gets the ball, and he plops it back forward. He falls back into the field, and the ball comes down, and then that's when he catches it after he.
Were y'all
And
there for that?
and it looks like a fan
They
might have
had left the
interfered with it. They should have gave Troy a home run because it looks like that fan interfered with it.
That's the kid that hit 3 home runs in a game for Troy that hit that ball.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I tell
What's
you
his
what,
name?
Entry, I think.
Yeah, it was opposite
Logan
field
Henry.
home run, and bless his heart, he doesn't get credit for it.
It's an unbelievable play by the right fielder.
Right, no question about it.
Yeah, made ESPN's top plays. I'll have to watch it. I still haven't watched it.
Yeah, okay, that was something. But see, right there, looks like they
And then he popped that ball way up in there.
They called it a ground rule double, and then they called it an out after reviewing it.
That reminds me of a play I saw. I was telling Mike, we were telling all our old war stories and talked a lot about baseball. And I said, well, I was the scorekeeper for every Charles Henderson home game for 4 years. And so I saw this game with my own eyes. Greg Barnett, a lot of people in town know Greg Barnett. He was a great athlete, played baseball at Charles Henderson. He was the left fielder. I saw him one time. Somebody hit a home run against Troy. He went back, leaped up, caught the ball, and then he landed with half his body on the fence, and then he rolled over the fence.
it was
a home run because of the ball. I mean, he didn't.
Got he caught it in bounds or whatever.
But he
enjoyed
caught the
our
ball.
show. We're laid back. We're talking back and forth. Of course, make sure you give us the rest of your information going on today.
Real quick, there's the Terry Sykes Memorial Tournament starting today, first pitch at Troy University. Trot Sykes.
What time will that be?
It'll be
Trot Sykes gonna throw the first pitch out.
that is going to be. I got it somewhere at I think 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're circling for us that it's time, but Terry Sykes is this weekend, and
And if you got a daughter, take her to Auburn to see Troy and Auburn play, and it'd be especially if they're softball people. You know, you can learn so much about going to the game, and of course that game's at Auburn.
Support your local schools
today, and
they're
then
all
next
playing
week,
today.
Next week Auburn comes to Troy, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
So that should be a lot of fun, and of course basketball again. Enterprise lost a tough one, and but. It's a lot of action still to be seen this week on right here in Troy.
Okay, good luck to Will Rice is pitching for the Pike Liberal Arts JV baseball team today.
Well, what time? I'd like to go see it.
4:30. They're having a
4:30.
doubleheader first. I think he's pitching in the first game.
4:30.